Sleep by the river. The river was slow and quiet, winding like a silver ribbon through the heart of the valley. Its surface shimmered beneath the soft glow of a pale moon, each ripple catching the light like a whispered secret. On its banks stood a cottage, small, time-worn, and hidden beneath the wide, protective arms of an old willow tree. Moss grew thick along the stones at its base, and ivy curled gently around its wooden windows, as if nature itself had tucked the house in for the night. Inside, all was still. A single candle flickered on a small table near the window, casting warm light across the wooden floor. The scent of lavender lingered in the air, mixing with the faint freshness of the river just beyond. In the armchair near the fire, an old wool blanket lay folded, waiting for someone to settle into it. The fireplace held the soft glow of embers, no longer roaring, but alive, warm, steady. The cottage didn't belong to anyone in particular. Or perhaps it belonged to everyone who found it. Wanderers, dreamers, those who had walked too far and thought too long. It was a place that called out not with words, but with silence. And tonight it was your turn. You arrived just as the last bit of twilight fades. Your steps are slow, not tired, just quiet. The path is soft underfoot, damp with evening mist and lined with stones smoothed by years of footsteps, though none seem recent. The willow branches sway gently as you pass, brushing your shoulders like a welcome. The door creaks open without effort. No key needed. It was never locked. You step inside, and the world softens. The chair is just the right size. The blanket is heavier than it looks, warm and grounding. As you settle in, the fire shifts, welcoming your presence. You can hear the river just outside, its slow movement a lullaby in motion. No rush. No noise. Just the hush of moving water, the whisper of wind, the heartbeat of the earth beneath you. Sleep doesn't come suddenly. It comes like the river itself, slow, steady, natural. You let your eyes drift to the flickering candle, to the books on the shelf, to the shadows dancing gently across the walls. Nothing needs to be solved. Nothing needs to be remembered. Here, the world is simple. Here you are held by silence, by warmth, by the steady hush of the river. You breathe in. You breathe out. You drift. Outside, the moon rose higher, bathing the valley in a pale glow. The river shimmered beneath it, dark and endless, yet never threatening. It flowed with the rhythm of breath, quiet and sure, as though it had always known how to comfort those who listened. Inside the cottage, the shadows grew longer, softer. The candle had burned low, its light flickering gently across the wooden beams above. The fire crackled now and then, each pop and sigh a reminder that time was passing, but there was no hurry to notice. You let your head lean back against the chair. The blanket's weight pressed lightly on your shoulders, a kind of steady, grounding touch. In the silence, you begin to notice the smallest sounds, the faint rustle of leaves outside, the slow creak of the old wood beneath your feet, the quiet hum of your own breath blending with the hush of the river. And somewhere far off, perhaps across the water, or maybe only in your memory, an owl called once, then fell silent again. Your thoughts slowed to match the pace of the night. They come, but gently now, not as questions or worries, but as soft shapes, passing like clouds across a wide sky. There is no need to chase them, no need to hold on. They move through you in a way. You begin to feel the edges of yourself dissolve slightly, not in fear, but in ease. You are not separate from this place, not apart from the night. You are part of it all, the way the river belongs to the valley, or the flame belongs to the candle. In the corner of the room, beside the bookshelves, there's a wooden writing desk. On its surface, a stack of old letters tied in a ribbon, a dried flower pressed between pages, and a single feather resting beside an empty journal. Someone used to write here. Someone who listened, like you do now. Perhaps they wrote about the stars, or the river, or the way the wind carries dreams over water. You feel no need to read the letters. Their presence is enough. Outside, the willow sways slowly, its long branches catching the breeze. The leaves whisper something you can't quite hear, but the meaning still finds its way to you, wordless and soft. The river flows on. You do not need to know where it leads. You are here. And that is enough. The fire had nearly faded now, leaving behind a bed of glowing embers. They pulsed like a quiet heartbeat, alive, but content. You could still feel their warmth reaching toward you, not in a rush, not in a blaze, but in gentle waves, like a memory that doesn't need to speak to be felt. You close your eyes, not because you're tired, but because it feels natural. Rest isn't forced here. It arrives slowly, like the mist rolling off the river just before dawn. The chair creaks softly as you shift. The blanket adjusts around your shoulders, holding you like an old friend. Every part of the cottage seems to breathe with you, the floorboards, the window glass, the stone walls, all slow and steady and sure. For a moment, you imagine the cottage outside of time. Not abandoned. Not hidden. Just waiting. As if it appears only when someone needs it most, and disappears again when that need has passed. A sanctuary carried by silence. You wonder who else has sat where you sit now. Maybe a traveler, long ago, with cold hands and a full heart. Maybe someone who had nothing but the stars and a story. Maybe someone just like you. The river's voice grows clearer now. Not louder, but more present, like it has drawn nearer to the walls of the cottage, wrapping it in sound. A soft, endless murmur, neither urgent nor still. Just flowing. 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 You feel the rhythm in your breath. In your chest. In the way your body sinks further into the chair, as though the weight of your thoughts has finally lifted, leaving only the warmth and the hush. You are no longer separate from the river. You are the slow drift of its water. You are the mist above its surface. You are the silence between its ripples. And the cottage watches over you, not as a guardian, but as a companion. No words. No questions. Only presence. Time has softened. The night, like the blanket over your shoulders, has wrapped around every corner of the cottage. Even the air feels slower now, thicker, more still, as though the world itself is resting with you. You aren't sure how long you've been sitting here. Minutes? Hours? Maybe it doesn't matter. In this place, clocks don't tick. They rest too. The only time that exists is the rhythm of your breathing, the hum of the river, and the quiet beating of your heart. You shift slightly, and the chair creaks again, an old friend saying, "I'm still here." You glance toward the window. Beyond the glass, the river glows faintly beneath the moonlight. Mist curls along its surface like silk unraveling in the breeze. The willow branches dip low, their tips just brushing the water's edge. They sway gently, as if humming a song no one ever taught them, just something they've always known. Further down the bank, you see a lantern. Faint and flickering, far away. Not alarming. Not strange. Just there. Someone else, perhaps, has found their way to this place. Or maybe it's only your imagination, painting lights where it wants company. Either way, you smile softly. You are not alone. Not really. There's something comforting in that thought. Not in a crowded, noisy way, but in the soft knowing that others have felt this same peace. That somewhere, someone else is breathing slowly in a quiet room, listening to their own river, their own night. You let your eyes drift again. Slower this time. The candle on the table has burned low, its pool of wax glowing at the base. The books on the shelf, old and quiet, seem to lean just slightly, as if they too are exhaling after a long day. The silence deepens. Not an empty silence, but a full one. Like the pause at the end of a song, or the moment between waves. You are wrapped in it now. You are weightless. You are home. The wind outside had quieted completely. Not a single branch stirred, not a single leaf rustled. The world seemed to be listening, to the river, to the silence, to you. And within that silence, something opened. Not a door, not a sound, but a feeling. A gentle awareness that the night wasn't just still, it was holding you. Cradling your presence like the earth holds the river, naturally, patiently, without condition. In the far corner of the room, the books seemed almost to breathe. Their worn spines glowing faintly in the emberlight, their stories resting, waiting. You knew, without knowing how, that you could walk to those shelves and find a story meant only for you. Perhaps it would be a tale of stars that never faded, or a letter written by someone you never met but always remembered, or a single poem, scribbled in a forgotten hand, that said exactly what your heart had tried to say for years. But you didn't need to reach for it. Not tonight. It would still be there tomorrow, or the day after, or whenever you needed it most. The air grew cooler now, but not cold. The kind of coolness that makes a blanket feel like safety. You pull it closer around your body. The texture is soft, woven with threads of quiet and warmth, and time seems to slow even further. The fire offers its last gentle flickers, no longer dancing, just glowing. And in that dimness, your body begins to drift, not just into sleep, but into the deepest kind of rest. The kind that goes beyond dreaming. The kind that heals you without asking what was broken. A deep breath in. The sound of water. A faint echo of the owl's call. The creak of the cottage settling. A deep breath out. Stillness. You are not a visitor here anymore. You belong. Not just to this place, but to this peace. To the rhythm of the night. To the hush of the river. To the gentleness of letting go. Somewhere far upstream, the river passed through fields of wildflowers and meadows touched by moonlight. Though you couldn't see them, you could feel them, soft echoes in the air, the scent of distant blossoms carried gently on the breeze that now slipped through a barely open window. The curtain moved with it slowly, like breath. In and out. A rhythm your body had already matched. You didn't remember opening the window. Maybe it had always been open. Maybe the cottage knew exactly what you needed: fresh air, soft sounds, a connection to the night beyond the walls. Everything here had that quiet sense of knowing. The chair, the blanket, the fire, even the silence. All of them seemed to understand that you weren't here to think or solve or explain. You were here to rest. And they were here to help you do just that. You shift slightly, just enough to sink deeper into the chair, and you notice the smallest thing, a soft hum, barely audible, coming from somewhere inside the walls. Not mechanical. Not strange. Just gentle. A sound like wood settling. Or like the memory of music once played here, lingering in the beams. A lullaby without words. A warmth without fire. And so the night deepens. Not darker, only quieter. Not colder, only more still. Even the river, steady as ever, seems to move more slowly now, as if matching your breath with every curve and turn. You realize that your eyes are almost closed. Not because you're forcing them to shut, but because they no longer need to stay open. You have seen all you needed. The ember light. The moonlit branches. The soft pages resting unread on the desk. All of it, now, is a memory slipping quietly into the edge of dream. Sleep is no longer something you chase. It's here, all around you, holding you. And soon, it will carry you, gently, silently, downriver, where everything is soft, and nothing is urgent. Outside, the moon had reached its highest point, suspended above the river like a silent guardian. Its light poured softly over the water, creating slow-moving patterns that danced across the stones and reeds. The willow branches no longer swayed. They simply hung there, resting, like curtains drawn around the night. In the cottage, the warmth had settled fully into the floorboards and furniture. Everything was hushed, held, suspended in the soft embrace of darkness. The fire had grown still, reduced now to a subtle red glow within the hearth, embers like sleeping stars. You barely noticed the passing of time. Not in the usual way. There were no clocks ticking, no distant sounds of the world moving on without you. Here, time unfolded in long breaths and gentle silences. Your body had relaxed so deeply that even your fingers no longer held tension. They rested loosely beneath the blanket, palms open, like leaves floating in a stream. The air held the faint scent of cedarwood and something sweeter, perhaps from the fields across the river, or the dried herbs hanging from the rafters above. Every scent, every sound, every shadow here seemed to speak one quiet message. You're safe. You're held. You can rest now. The window pane fogged slightly from the warmth inside meeting the cool air outside, and beyond the misted glass, the stars twinkled dimly. Not bright. Not sharp. Just softly glowing, as if they, too, were growing sleepy. You imagined lying beneath them. On a small boat, perhaps, floating gently along the river. No oars. No destination. Just drifting. Wrapped in starlight and riverwind, with only the sky and the hush of water for company. And the more you imagined it, the more real it became. You could feel the slow sway beneath you. The quiet splash of water against wood. The weightlessness of letting go. The cottage and the boat blurred together in your mind now. One became the other. You were still in the chair, still beneath the blanket, but also floating slowly downstream, eyes half closed, body light as air. No past to worry over. No future to reach for. Only this moment. Only this breath. Only this river. The final ember in the hearth gave a soft sigh, then faded, leaving only the silence. And in that perfect stillness you drifted. Deeper. And deeper. Into sleep. The river carried you gently, as if it had waited all your life for this moment, to hold you, to guide you, to let the noise fall away. There was no current to fight against. Only a slow, endless glide. A soft rocking motion, like the earth breathing beneath you. Around you, the night stretched wide and calm. No voices. No footsteps. Just the soft chorus of nature at rest, the occasional ripple in the water, the distant rustle of a creature turning over in its sleep, and the whisper of trees watching over you from the shore. You saw flickers of light along the riverbank now. Not fire. Not lamps. Just faint glows, blue, green, silver, like stars that had drifted down to rest among the roots and stones. They didn't move. They didn't blink. They simply were. Like you? Present. Still. Part of the night. The boat beneath you, though you had never seen it, felt familiar. As if you'd always known it. As if it were built from the same wood as the floorboards of the cottage. As if the blanket wrapped around you now had traveled with you from chair to boat without ever needing to be lifted. There was no beginning or end here. No line between dreaming and waking. The river blurred everything unnecessary. And in that soft blur there was peace. You might have opened your eyes. You might not have. If you did, the stars were there, faint and kind. If not, they still watched over you. Time passed, though not in a way you could measure. A soft wind moved across the water, carrying with it the scent of pine, of river stone, of something warm and faintly sweet. Perhaps wood smoke from another hidden cottage. Perhaps the memory of something you once loved and had forgotten, only now returning in the quiet. It stirred nothing painful. Only a soft ache. The kind that comes just before healing. You exhale, and in doing so, release something you didn't know you were holding. A weight. A thought. A name. It slips into the river without a sound. And the water takes it. Without judgment. Without resistance. Only kindness. The sky above deepens to velvet, and the stars drift further away, not disappearing, just dimming, as if to let you sleep without distraction. Even the river, beneath you, grows quieter still. You are almost not moving now. Only floating. Only breathing. Only being. The river, now no more than a ribbon of quiet motion, seemed to breathe beneath you. Each gentle rise and fall was as steady as your own breath, a mirrored rhythm that lulled both body and thought into stillness. The night no longer surrounded you. It carried you. It had become a blanket of its own, thick with silence, soft with shadow. Even the air had a texture to it now, like silk floating across skin. You no longer wondered where you were going. That thought had faded too, slipping somewhere between the stars and the stream. Up ahead, or maybe behind, you imagined the river passing other quiet places. An orchard glowing in the moonlight, trees heavy with sleep and memory. A bridge no longer crossed, but still standing, watching the water flow beneath it. A field of wildflowers that only bloomed at night, known only to owls and dreams. Each passed unnoticed. Not because they didn't matter, but because nothing had to be held on to here. Nothing had to be remembered. It was enough just to drift. You adjusted your position slightly. Not awake, not asleep, simply shifting into deeper rest. The blanket over you held its warmth, molding to your shape like it had known you forever. Your fingers curled gently. Your toes relaxed. Your jaw, your shoulders, your breath, every part of you had softened. And still the river moved. Barely. Lovingly. At some point, you felt a breeze kiss your cheek. Cool, but not cold. It whispered through your hair, trailing behind it the scent of moss and water and old stories. You didn't open your eyes. You didn't need to. Everything you felt was enough. The world had gone quiet not out of emptiness, but in reverence. As if the entire night were holding its breath, waiting for you to fall fully into sleep. Not shallow sleep, but the kind that heals, the kind that restores, the kind that holds you in its arms and says, "You are safe now. Rest is yours. No one needs you but the stars. No place needs you but here." And so you drift, lighter than thought, deeper than dream, carried softly by the river that never asks and never ends. Certainly, continuing, sleep by the river was slow and soothing calm. The night's stillness wrapped around you like the softest quilt, its folds whispering promises of rest and quiet dreams. Outside, the river kept its endless journey, flowing with gentle patience, never rushing, never stopping. Each ripple on the surface seemed to sing a lullaby, soft, wordless, timeless, meant only for those who listened closely. You felt yourself becoming part of that song, a note in the harmony of night. The willow tree outside, its branches hanging low and protective, swayed just enough to scatter tiny droplets of dew onto the river's glassy surface. Each droplet caught the moonlight like a miniature star, sparkling briefly before merging with the water's steady flow. You imagined those droplets carrying away any lingering thoughts or worries, dissolving them quietly into the river's endless dance. Inside the cottage, the warmth from the fire had faded completely, but the chair still held its gentle embrace. The blanket's weight pressed softly against your skin, steady and soothing. You felt the steady rhythm of your breath, slow and even, a tide pulling you deeper into calm. The world outside might still be awake, but here, time had slowed to a tender pause. You imagined floating now, not just in the boat on the river, but in the very air itself. Weightless and free, drifting between the stars and the earth, carried by a current of peace. The night was vast and welcoming, and you were part of it. A final breath in, a slow breath out, and surrender. As the night deepened, a gentle fog began to rise from the river's surface. It moved like a quiet breath, drifting slowly over the water and creeping softly toward the cottage. The mist wrapped itself around the willow's long branches, weaving through the leaves and caressing the wooden walls. Inside, the air grew cooler, but never cold. It was the kind of coolness that invites you to nestle deeper into your blanket, to feel its warmth even more keenly. Far away, a pair of fireflies blinked lazily in the darkness, their faint lights weaving slow patterns over the riverbank. Their glow seemed to pulse with the rhythm of your heartbeat, as if nature itself were syncing to your breathing, encouraging your body to relax further. The sound of water flowing, steady, gentle, became a steady anchor in your mind. No distractions, no noise. Just the peaceful melody of the river's endless journey. You allowed your thoughts to float away with the mist. They no longer needed your attention. There was nothing to solve, nothing to fix. Only rest. Only stillness. Only the slow, soothing passage of time marked by your breath and the river's flow. Your eyes fluttered closed, if they were not closed already. The warmth of the blanket, the faint scent of cedar and lavender, the hush of the river, all wrapped around you like a soft lullaby. You had come here searching for peace, and peace had found you. Sleep settled over you like the gentle fall of night, deep and pure. You were ready to drift, ready to dream, ready to be held by the river's endless calm. The river's gentle murmur filled the quiet space between breaths, a soothing soundtrack to your unfolding rest. Its current, slow and steady, seemed to carry away the last fragments of wakefulness, leaving only calm in their place. Outside, the willow's branches brushed the surface of the water like soft fingertips, creating tiny ripples that spread out endlessly, fading into stillness. Inside the cottage, the dim candlelight had long since surrendered to the night's embrace, leaving only the memory of its warmth behind. The shadows it once cast now melted into the gentle darkness, blending seamlessly with the steady pulse of the river's song. You felt yourself becoming one with the quiet, the chair, the blanket, the air itself, all cradling you in a tender embrace. Your mind slowed to the pace of the river, thoughts softening into gentle waves that rose and fell without urgency. The worries of the day slipped away, dissolving like mist under the morning sun. Here, in this moment suspended between waking and dreaming, you were free. Free to let go. A soft breeze wandered in through the open window, carrying the faint scent of pine and earth, whispering promises of rest and renewal. It touched your skin lightly, a final caress before surrender. And as your breath deepened, the river outside sang its lullaby, steady, eternal, and endlessly kind. You drift. You rest. You sleep. The night deepened, folding softly around the cottage like a velvet cloak. The air held a faint chill now, but the blanket wrapped around you offered steady warmth, as if it had been woven from the very essence of comfort itself. Outside, the river's surface shimmered faintly beneath the moonlight, a quiet silver thread stretching endlessly into the distance. The willow tree stood sentinel by the water's edge, its long branches dipping gently, brushing the ripples with tender care. A gentle breeze stirred the leaves, producing a soothing rustle, like whispered secrets passed from one leaf to the next. Inside, the silence was not empty but full, rich with the quiet breathing of the night. The walls of the cottage seemed to pulse softly with life, a comforting heartbeat in the stillness. Somewhere, a clock ticked faintly, its rhythm slow and deliberate, like a lullaby counting down the moments until rest. You shifted slightly in your chair, feeling the warm wood beneath you, solid and familiar. The blanket, heavy and warm, settled snugly around your shoulders. The scents of cedarwood and lavender mingled softly, creating a cocoon of calm around you. Your thoughts drifted, slow and steady, like leaves floating down a gentle stream. They came and went without urgency, soft memories, half-formed dreams, the lingering warmth of past smiles. Each one was a ripple, fading quickly into the quiet depths of your mind. You noticed the faint sounds outside, the distant hoot of an owl, the occasional splash where a fish might have broken the water's surface, the soft whisper of the river weaving its way through the valley. These sounds were not distractions but companions, lulling you deeper into the embrace of night. In the corner of the room, the wooden desk held a small, unlit lantern and a stack of papers, its edges curling slightly with age. Perhaps someone had once sat here, writing letters by candlelight, capturing moments that slipped away like sand through fingers. You imagined the careful strokes of a pen, the quiet pauses between words, the soft scratch of ink on paper blending with the river's song outside. You didn't need to read these words. Their presence alone told a story of quiet evenings and peaceful solitude, of finding stillness in the flow of time. The river continued its endless journey, flowing softly over smooth stones and past moss-covered banks. It carried with it the coolness of mountain springs and the warmth of summer rains, the laughter of children long grown and the sighs of lovers beneath starlit skies. Here, in this moment, you were part of that endless journey. You were the current, the mist rising from the water's surface, the whispering leaves of the willow. You were the quiet, the stillness, the pause between one breath and the next. Your eyes grew heavy, lids fluttering like the wings of a moth drawn to the faint candlelight. The warmth of the blanket seeped into your skin, weaving a gentle spell of calm and safety. You took a slow, deep breath, feeling the cool night air mingle with the warmth inside, balancing perfectly as your body began to relax fully. No need to hold on. No need to fight the pull. Just drift. The river waits. The night waits. And you, at last, can let go. The moon traced its path slowly across the sky, casting silver light through the window that danced upon the walls like gentle waves. The willow outside stood silent and still, its branches dipping low to touch the river's surface as if sharing a secret only they understood. Inside, the warmth from the fading fire embraced you like a gentle breath, steady and calm. The blanket around your shoulders felt heavier now, not burdensome, but comforting, like a tender hug from the night itself. You leaned back into the chair, feeling the soft wood cradle you. Your breath settled into a rhythm matching the river's flow outside, steady, slow, peaceful. The sounds of the night whispered through the open window, the soft splash of water, a distant owl's call, the rustle of leaves brushing against one another. Each sound a note in a quiet symphony composed by the earth itself. Your thoughts, once busy and scattered, now settled like leaves floating down a gentle stream. Memories drifted in softly, then floated away without urgency or need. You didn't try to grasp them, instead you let them pass, one by one, into the calm night. The steady pulse of the river outside echoed inside you, a silent lullaby coaxing you deeper into rest. In this place, time is measured not by hours, but by the slow unfolding of peace. No future worries press in. No past regrets linger. Only the gentle present, the soothing hush of the river, the cradle of the willow, the stillness of the cottage. You are wrapped in all of it. Held softly. Protected. Your eyes close fully now. The last flicker of candlelight dims, leaving the room cloaked in gentle darkness. Your breath deepens. Your heartbeat slows. You are not awake. You are not asleep. You are simply resting. The river continues its endless journey. And so do you. Flowing gently toward the quiet dreamland waiting just beyond the veil of night. The night deepened further, folding over the valley like a soft blanket, cushioning the world in its quiet embrace. Outside, the river's surface shimmered faintly, reflecting the moon's pale light in slow, rippling patterns that seemed to breathe in time with your own steady breath. The willow's long branches traced delicate arcs over the water, their shadows mingling with the soft glow of distant stars. The gentle rustle of leaves was like a whispered song, a melody without words, but full of warmth and comfort. Inside the cottage, the chair cradled you with steady familiarity. The blanket, woven thick and soft, rested heavy and reassuring across your shoulders. The air smelled faintly of cedar and lavender, calming and pure. Your thoughts had slowed to the rhythm of the night, drifting in and out like leaves carried on the river's gentle current. There was nothing to hold on to, nothing to chase, just the slow, endless flow of peace. You felt the weight of the day slipping away, replaced by a growing stillness that filled every fiber of your being. The river's endless journey reminded you that rest was not an end. The cradle of the willow, the stillness of the cottage. You are wrapped in all of it. Held softly. Protected. Your eyes close fully now. The last flicker of candlelight dims, leaving the room cloaked in gentle darkness. Your breath deepens. Your heartbeat slows. You are not awake. You are not asleep. You are simply resting. The river continues its endless journey. And so do you. Flowing gently toward the quiet dreamland waiting just beyond the veil of night. The river's gentle murmur filled the quiet space between breaths, a soothing soundtrack to your unfolding rest. Its current, slow and steady, seemed to carry away the last fragments of wakefulness, leaving only calm in their place. Outside, the willow's branches brushed the surface of the water like soft fingertips, creating tiny ripples that spread out endlessly, fading into stillness. Inside the cottage, the dim candlelight had long since surrendered to the night's embrace, leaving only the memory of its warmth behind. The shadows it once cast now melted into the gentle darkness, blending seamlessly with the steady pulse of the river's song. You felt yourself becoming one with the quiet, the chair, the blanket, the air itself, all cradling you in a tender embrace. Your mind slowed to the pace of the river, thoughts softening into gentle waves that rose and fell without urgency. The worries of the day slipped away, dissolving like mist under the morning sun. Here, in this moment suspended between waking and dreaming, you were free. Free to let go. A soft breeze wandered in through the open window, carrying the faint scent of pine and earth, whispering promises of rest and renewal. It touched your skin lightly, a final caress before surrender. And as your breath deepened, the river outside sang its lullaby, steady, eternal, and endlessly kind. You drift. You rest. You sleep. The night had deepened into a velvet stillness, wrapping the world in a cloak of calm. The river flowed quietly beneath the moon's gentle gaze, its surface smooth and shimmering like liquid glass. The willow's long branches trailed lazily over the water, their reflections rippling softly in the gentle current. Inside the cottage, the air was cool but comforting. The blanket around your shoulders was warm and familiar, holding you like a tender embrace. The chair beneath you seemed to sigh softly, settling you deeper into rest. Outside, the chorus of night sounds wove a soft symphony, the distant hoot of an owl, the whisper of wind threading through the leaves, and the rhythmic murmur of water flowing endlessly downstream. Each sound was a gentle reminder of life moving slowly, peacefully, in harmony with the quiet night. Your breathing matched this rhythm, slow and steady, ebbing and flowing like the river itself. Thoughts floated by without urgency, gentle shapes passing through the stillness. You welcomed their soft presence and let them drift away, carried off like leaves on the current. The worries and noise of the day were fading, replaced by a growing sense of peace and ease. You were no longer apart from the night. You were part of it, flowing, breathing, resting. As your eyes grew heavy, the candle's last flicker disappeared, leaving the room bathed in gentle shadow. The silence was full and complete, a quiet lullaby sung by the river, the trees, and the night sky. You gave yourself permission to let go, to drift, to sleep. The river's soft murmur filled the night air, wrapping around you like a tender embrace. Its gentle current carried away the last traces of waking thoughts, leaving behind a stillness as deep and endless as the starry sky above. The willow tree's long branches swayed lightly, tracing slow patterns on the shimmering water. Each movement was a quiet dance, slow and deliberate, inviting you to follow its rhythm into deeper calm. Inside the cottage, the warmth of the fading fire lingered, a soft glow resting on the wooden beams. The blanket around your shoulders held you snug and safe, its weight steadying your breath and quieting your mind. The world outside seemed to pause, giving space for your body to relax fully, for your heart to slow its pace, for your thoughts to fade into whispers. You drifted between waking and dreaming, a place where time softened and the world felt tender and close. The river's song became your lullaby, guiding you gently toward the quiet shores of sleep. There was nothing to hold on to, nothing to chase, only the slow, comforting flow of the night. A deep breath in, a slow breath out, and surrender. The river carries you now, steady and sure, into peaceful dreams. The stars above twinkled softly, their light weaving silver threads across the dark sky. The moon hung low, casting a pale glow that danced upon the river's surface like scattered diamonds. The willow's branches swayed slowly in the night breeze, their tips touching the water as if sharing a quiet secret. Inside the cottage, the chair embraced you like an old friend, its worn wood comforting beneath your body. The blanket, thick and warm, held you close, its weight steady and reassuring. The night whispered all around, a chorus of subtle sounds, the gentle splash of water against the shore, the soft rustle of leaves, and a distant owl's lonely call. These were the lullabies of the earth, gentle and unhurried, carrying you deeper into stillness. Your breath matched the rhythm of the river, steady and calm. The worries of the day dissolved into the night air, carried away on the breeze. Your thoughts became soft and slow, drifting like leaves floating down the river. You didn't try to catch them. Instead, you watched them pass by, each one fading gently into the quiet. Here, in this moment, there was only peace, only rest, only the slow, endless flow of the river and the night. As your eyes closed, the last flicker of candlelight faded. Darkness settled softly around you, a blanket of quiet and calm. You drifted deeper now, weightless and free. Carried by the river, cradled by the night. The river whispered its timeless song, carrying with it the soft secrets of the night. Each ripple was a gentle sigh, a lullaby sung just for you. The willow's branches brushed the water with tender care, their shadows tracing slow, soothing patterns. Inside the quiet cottage, the warmth of the day lingered faintly, a comforting memory nestled beneath the blanket wrapped around you. The chair embraced you fully now, steady and unwavering, as if it had been waiting for this moment of complete rest. Outside, the night breathed softly. The stars above twinkled dimly, their light a gentle glow that did not disturb but invited sleep to settle deeper. The cool breeze carried the faint scent of pine and earth, wrapping you in a gentle hug from the forest beyond. Your breath slowed, matching the river's steady flow. Thoughts drifted away like leaves on the water, each one fading into peaceful nothingness. You were no longer bound by time or place. Here, between wakefulness and dreams, the world was still and kind. The river, the night, the willow, all cradled you with quiet strength. You exhaled fully, releasing all tension, all worry. You surrendered. And in that surrender, you floated free, carried gently down the endless river toward the embrace of deep, healing sleep. The night deepened around you like a soft, endless quilt. The river's surface mirrored the vast sky above, smooth, dark, and speckled with distant stars that shimmered faintly through the willow's delicate branches. Each ripple was slow, deliberate, carrying the quiet essence of the night downstream in gentle waves. The willow stood like a silent guardian at the water's edge, its leaves whispering softly as the breeze moved through them, a delicate song woven with the breath of the earth. The air smelled faintly of cedar and wildflowers, a scent that wrapped around your senses and settled deep within your chest, as if calling you to rest. Inside the cottage, the flickering light of a dying candle cast long, dancing shadows on the wooden walls. The chair beneath you was worn smooth by years of use, its comforting creaks blending with the soft symphony of night sounds outside, the distant call of an owl, the rustle of leaves, the subtle splash of the river flowing over stones. The blanket cocooned you in its gentle weight, warmth spreading slowly through your limbs, coaxing every muscle to unwind and let go. Your breath slowed and deepened, matching the slow pulse of the river, the peaceful cadence of the world at rest. Memories floated softly through your mind, like autumn leaves drifting lazily on the river's surface. They came and went without urgency, moments of laughter, quiet smiles, the touch of cool water on skin, the scent of pine in early morning light. None of these moments demanded attention. They simply drifted by, part of the endless flow of time and memory. You let each one pass without grasping, feeling lighter with every breath, as though the river was gently carrying your thoughts away, freeing you from the weight of wakefulness. Outside, the willow's branches swayed ever so slightly, their motion slow and hypnotic. The moon's glow shimmered through the leaves, painting silver patterns on the water that seemed to move in time with your heartbeats. The river's murmur was steady and soft, a lullaby older than time, sung by nature to those who pause long enough to listen. The night held you tenderly, offering a sanctuary from the rush of the day and the noise of the mind. Here, nothing hurried, nothing pressed, only stillness and the gentle current of peace flowing endlessly forward. You shifted gently in the chair, feeling the wood cradle your body like a long-lost friend. The warmth of the blanket seeped deeper, threading through your skin and bones, spreading calm like a slow fire. Your eyelids grew heavy, fluttering softly like the wings of a moth drawn to a distant light. Your breath came slow and even now, each inhale a quiet invitation to rest, each exhale a gentle surrender to the night. The river outside continued its endless journey, winding through meadows and forests, carrying with it the stories of the stars and the whispered dreams of all who have ever listened. Its song was steady and sure, a promise that no matter where you drift, there is always a place of rest waiting just downstream. And here, in this quiet cottage by the river, you found that place. You closed your eyes fully, letting the darkness bloom behind your lids like a velvet curtain. The sounds of the night wove around you, a soft tapestry of comfort and safety. You were no longer awake, and not yet asleep. You were suspended in a perfect moment of peace, floating gently between worlds, carried on the current of the river's lullaby. In that stillness, you breathed deeply, releasing every last trace of tension and thought. You were home. You were held. You were free. The river's song deepened, a low, constant murmur that wove through the night air like a silken thread. It spoke in tones ancient and steady, carrying the wisdom of countless dawns and dusks, the secrets of stones worn smooth by time, and the soft sighs of leaves drifting to rest on its surface. Outside, the willow's long branches swayed gently, casting shifting shadows that rippled like slow-moving water across the cottage walls. The moon, a pale guardian in the dark sky, traced silver lines on the water, guiding the current onward with its soft glow. Inside, the air was cool but not cold, carrying the faint scent of cedarwood and the subtle sweetness of dried lavender bundles hanging from the rafters. The blanket wrapped snugly around your shoulders was heavy and comforting, a steady presence in the growing stillness. The chair beneath you was old, its wood worn smooth by years of quiet use. Its familiar creaks whispered gentle greetings as you shifted slightly, settling deeper into its embrace. You felt the warmth of the fading hearth fire still lingering in the floorboards, a quiet reminder of the day's fading light. Your breath grew slow and even, matching the rhythm of the river just beyond the window. Each inhale invited calm, each exhale released tension, until your whole body began to soften, to melt into the steady peace that filled the room. Your thoughts drifted softly like autumn leaves caught in the current, floating past without grasp or effort. Memories of laughter, of quiet moments in sunlight, of cool water slipping over skin, all passed gently through your mind, leaving behind only a lightness that made you feel as if you were floating just above the earth. The willow outside whispered its timeless lullaby as the breeze moved through its leaves, a sound like a secret song meant only for the night. The stars above blinked softly, their light cool and steady, watching over the river's endless journey. You imagined yourself carried on the current, drifting slowly downstream through forests dappled with moonlight, past meadows that held the scent of wildflowers and damp earth. There was no hurry, no destination, only the slow, steady flow of the river and the peaceful pull of the night. Inside the cottage, the shadows deepened, wrapping the space in quiet comfort. The candle's flame flickered low, then settled into a soft glow that seemed to pulse gently with the rhythm of your breath. The room felt alive with stillness, a sanctuary where time slowed and the worries of the day slipped away. You felt the slow beating of your heart, steady and calm beneath your ribs, and with it came a deep sense of safety and rest. As your eyelids fluttered closed, you let yourself sink fully into the moment, into the quiet embrace of night and river and wood. You were neither awake nor asleep, but something in between, a place where dreams begin and the mind is free to wander. You breathed in the cool night air, carrying the scent of pine and river moss, and breathed out all that was left of wakefulness. The river's lullaby filled your ears and your soul, a steady, soothing pulse that promised rest, renewal, and peace. In this perfect stillness, you were carried gently downstream, the soft murmur of water guiding you toward the place where sleep and dreams meet. The night wrapped around you like a velvet cloak, the willow's branches swayed a slow dance, and the stars twinkled softly above. Here, in the quiet heart of the night, you were home. You were safe. You were free. The night deepened further, folding over the valley like a soft blanket, cushioning the world in its quiet embrace. Outside, the river's surface shimmered faintly, reflecting the moon's pale light in slow, rippling patterns that seemed to breathe in time with your own steady breath. The willow's long branches traced delicate arcs over the water, their shadows mingling with the soft glow of distant stars. The gentle rustle of leaves was like a whispered song, a melody without words, but full of warmth and comfort. Inside the cottage, the chair cradled you with steady familiarity. The blanket, woven thick and soft, rested heavy and reassuring across your shoulders. The air smelled faintly of cedar and lavender, calming and pure. Your thoughts had slowed to the rhythm of the night, drifting in and out like leaves carried on the river's gentle current. There was nothing to hold on to, nothing to chase, just the slow, endless flow of peace. You felt the weight of the day slipping away, replaced by a growing stillness that filled every fiber of your being. The river's endless journey reminded you that rest was not an end, but a beginning, a gentle passage from one moment to the next. As you breathed in, you welcomed the night's quiet embrace. As you breathed out, you released the last flickers of tension and worry. The world beyond the window was calm, waiting patiently for the dawn, but for now, the river and the night were yours alone. You were part of their gentle rhythm, flowing, resting, becoming. And as your eyelids grew heavier, the final whispers of wakefulness faded away, leaving only the serene lullaby of the river to guide you into peaceful sleep. The night had deepened into a velvet stillness, wrapping the world in a cloak of calm. The river flowed quietly beneath the moon's gentle gaze, its surface smooth and shimmering like liquid glass. The willow's long branches trailed lazily over the water, their reflections rippling softly in the gentle current. Inside the cottage, the air was cool but comforting. The blanket around your shoulders was warm and familiar, holding you like a tender embrace. The chair beneath you seemed to sigh softly, settling you deeper into rest. Outside, the chorus of night sounds wove a soft symphony, the distant hoot of an owl, the whisper of wind threading through the leaves, and the rhythmic murmur of water flowing endlessly downstream. Each sound was a gentle reminder of life moving slowly, peacefully, in harmony with the quiet night. Your breathing matched this rhythm, slow and steady, ebbing and flowing like the river itself. Thoughts floated by without urgency, gentle shapes passing through the stillness. You welcomed their soft presence and let them drift away, carried off like leaves on the current. The worries and noise of the day were fading, replaced by a growing sense of peace and ease. You were no longer apart from the night. You were part of it, flowing, breathing, resting. As your eyes grew heavy, the candle's last flicker disappeared, leaving the room bathed in gentle shadow. The silence was full and complete, a quiet lullaby sung by the river, the trees, and the night sky. You gave yourself permission to let go, to drift, to sleep. The moon traced its path slowly across the sky, casting silver light through the window that danced upon the walls like gentle waves. The willow outside stood silent and still, its branches dipping low to touch the river's surface as if sharing a secret only they understood. Inside, the warmth from the fading fire embraced you like a gentle breath, steady and calm. The blanket around your shoulders felt heavier now, not burdensome, but comforting, like a tender hug from the night itself. You leaned back into the chair, feeling the soft wood cradle you. Your breath settled into a rhythm matching the river's flow outside, steady, slow, peaceful. The sounds of the night whispered through the open window, the soft splash of water, a distant owl's call, the rustle of leaves brushing against one another. Each sound a note in a quiet symphony composed by the earth itself. Your thoughts, once busy and scattered, now settled like leaves floating down a gentle stream. Memories drifted in softly, then floated away without urgency or need. You didn't try to grasp them, instead, you let them pass, one by one, into the calm night. The steady pulse of the river outside echoed inside you, a silent lullaby coaxing you deeper into rest. In this place, time is measured not by hours, but by the slow unfolding of peace. No future worries press in, no past regrets linger. Only the gentle present, the soothing hush of the river, the cradle of the willow, the stillness of the cottage. You are wrapped in all of it, held softly, protected. Your eyes close fully now. The last flicker of candlelight dims, leaving the room cloaked in gentle darkness. Your breath deepens. Your heartbeat slows. You are not awake. You are not asleep. You are simply resting. The river continues its endless journey. And so do you. Flowing gently toward the quiet dreamland waiting just beyond the veil of night. The river's song whispered softly through the night, a constant, calming murmur that carried the weight of countless journeys and endless dreams. Each ripple sparkled faintly beneath the moon's tender glow, as if the water itself was breathing in sync with your slow, steady breath. The willow's branches brushed lightly against the surface, tracing delicate patterns that spread outward, dissolving into the quiet dark. The air was cool and fresh, filled with the subtle sense of pine and earth, wrapping around you like a gentle embrace. Inside the cottage, the blanket held you snugly, its warmth a steady comfort against the cool night air. The chair beneath you felt like an old friend, its familiar contours cradling your body as you melted deeper into rest. Outside, the soft chorus of nighttime sounds, an owl's distant call, the rustling of leaves, the soft splash of water, wove together into a lullaby just for you. Your thoughts floated freely now, drifting past like leaves on the river's surface. None demanded attention. All were welcome to pass, leaving behind a profound stillness. Time seemed to slow, stretching and folding into itself. The world beyond the window grew distant, a faint echo that mattered less and less. You were here, in this peaceful moment, part of the river's endless flow and the night's tender song. Your breathing deepened, steady and slow, as the river's lullaby wrapped around your mind, soothing and steady. You felt yourself drifting closer to sleep, safe, calm, and embraced by the quiet night. The moon climbed higher, casting a soft silver light that warmed the willow's leaves and shimmered on the river's surface. The night held you gently, cradling you as you surrendered fully to rest. And as your eyelids closed completely, you were carried softly on the current, flowing, resting, dreaming. The river's soft murmur wrapped around you like a tender embrace, a lullaby carried on the cool night breeze. Its current moved steadily, endlessly onward, as if whispering promises of rest and renewal. The willow's long branches dipped low, their leaves brushing the water with delicate strokes, sending tiny ripples across the shimmering surface. The moonlight poured softly through the open window, bathing the cottage in a silver glow that softened every shadow and warmed the heart of the room. The blanket cocooned you in warmth, heavy but gentle, like a quiet, protective hug from the night itself. Outside, the night breathed quietly. Crickets sang their gentle chorus, and somewhere in the distance, an owl called softly into the dark. The air smelled faintly of pine and damp earth, fresh and pure, filling your lungs with every peaceful breath. Your thoughts drifted away like leaves carried by the river, slow and effortless. The noise of the day, the fluttering worries, all faded into the background, replaced by a growing stillness inside you. You were safe. You were calm. You were home. The river's song was steady and sure, guiding you gently deeper into rest. Your breathing slowed, becoming as rhythmic and smooth as the flowing water. The willow's branches swayed softly in time, their shadow dancing lightly on the walls like a soothing, timeless rhythm. You felt yourself drifting now, carried softly on the current of night and river in dreams. A deep peace settled into your bones, a quiet promise of restoration. As the night deepened, the river's gentle song carried you ever onward, soft, steady, and endless. The willow's branches swayed slowly in the moonlight, their whispers fading into the quiet stillness that wrapped the world like a velvet cloak. Inside the cottage, the warmth of the blanket held you close, a tender guardian in the hush of night. Your breath was slow and even, your heartbeat calm and steady. You were safe. You were at peace. Now, surrender completely to the quiet river of dreams. Let it carry you gently through the night, to a place of rest and renewal, where worries dissolve and the soul finds calm. Sleep well, wrapped in the river's endless embrace. Until the dawn, when the light will once again trace silver paths across the water, and the world will softly awaken. Good night.